Hello, this is Victor. I'm here with a new battle report. And this is another Age of Sigmar battle report where my Stormcast Eternals will fight against the Bloodbound. I fight against two people that are also part of this community, is Dieter and the Scarlet the Wanderer, also known as All Elves Are Dark. So it was quite a fun battle. We get a lot of fun. We played at my home. I invite we just joined for a battle to have some good time, and this is the battle report. So what I use from my Stormcast Eternals, I use the Lord Celestial on Dracoth, Lord Castellan, a Knight Venator, a unit of 5 Retributors, 5 Liberators, 6 Liberators, 5 Judicators, and 4 Prosecutors with Javelins. From the other side, on Khorne, we have a Mighty Lord of Khorne, 2 Exalted Deathbringers, 2 Slaughter Priests, 1 Blood Secretor, 1 Blood Stalker, 10 Blood Warriors, 5 Blood Warriors, 20 Blood Reavers, and a unit of 2 Kolgoraths. And let's go to the scenario and deployment. So we played the second scenario from the first book, and it's the Watchtower. So the defender in the case were the Khorne army. So there is a garrison in the Watchtower. Is these ruins that we have in the middle of the battlefield, and in the garrison we had the unit of 10 Blood Warriors and 1 of the Slaughter Priest. In this scenario, the attacker deploys all his army in 1 border edge at 12 inches from the border edge, and the defender can decide if go first or second in the first turn, and all the rest of the army is coming in reserve and will be deployed at 6 inches from the other side. This is another overview of the battlefield. We were playing just at the garden of my home. And here we have the view from the other side. There was a lot of sun sometimes, and then it's very shadowy in some parts of the battletop. Here we have the garrison, is the unit of Blood Warriors with the Slaughter Priest. Here we have another overview, looking my army from the other side. I just deployed. I deployed putting my Retributors and my Lord Celestial, and just to try to charge and to clean up this tower as fast as possible, and I will use the rest of the army just to try to delay the reserve from the attackers. So what I will try to do is advance as much as possible, use my shooting power, try to slow the enemies, and try to have the control of the tower as long as possible. As you can see, we have some realm gates. We use the rules of the realm gates, so you can cross from one realm gate to the other, and if you roll a 1, the unit is disappear from the battle. Here we have again the battlefield. You see the other realm gate is on the deployment zone of the Khorne, of the blob. We also roll magical. What is the magical, or the terrain? What is the effect of the terrain? Just the Guardian of Moor. It's the one that if you roll a 1, you are beholden and you cannot do anything. And if you roll 2 or plus, you repeat the rolls to wound. The Watchtower is the one that you can, if you do a sacrifice, you win bonus, and then there are some other terrains. And we go into the turn 1, and Khorne decide to go first. So we go into the turn 1 for Khorne. So they try to use the Slaughter Priest power, try to make 1d6 wounds, mortal wounds on my Retributors, but the prey didn't go off. So they roll, I think, a 2 or 3. No wounds for the Slaughter Priest neither, but at least no mortal wounds for my retributors. And of course, all the army of Khorne just arrived. The Blood Reavers in one flank, the Blood Warriors and most of the characters just in the middle, ready to go to support the unit that is in the garrison. The unit that is the garrison of the Watchtower, they have +3 to bravery and +1 to hit. Here we have another picture, another overview. And here looking the army of the Bloodbound Khorne from the front. Here we have the Blood Reavers just advancing from the reserve. And here we have in the other flank, there is the other units of Blood Warriors, the 2 Korgorath, and all the characters there. So this is the guys that they will go to assault on the Watchtower. Here we have another overview of the advancement of the Khorne. And now we go into the turn 1 for the Stormcast Eternals. During the first turn of the Khorne, not too much action yet. And now the action will start. And now we go into the Stormcast. I missed some pictures. Just I will explain a little bit what happened. I just advanced with most of my units. I get positions. I put one unit of Liberators to block the Realm Gate that are in my backward at my left. And then I move the unit of Liberators to face the Blood Reavers. I decide to assault with the Retributors and the Lord Celestial on the Watchtower and move the Judicators and the Prosecutors to have good line of sight. I shot everything on the Blood Warriors that are on the Watchtower, and then I assault with the Retributors and with the Lord Celestial on the backup. The Retributors failed the charge. I only had the charge with my Lord Celestial. My Lord Celestial killed some Blood Warriors, but in return, my Lord Celestial just died. He was attacked by the Blood Warriors plus the Priest, and between all the attacks, he died. So it was not very successful my first turn. I killed some Blood Warriors, but I lost my Lord Celestial, so not really where you want to be at the beginning of the battle. And now I don't have any more the command abilities. Here we have another picture of the big fiasco that I did on the. And we are ready to go to the turn 2, and we have to roll for initiative. And I won the initiative, so this is what I needed. 2 turns in a row is really what I was needing here. So as you can see, I move into position. Remember that this terrain, the Garden of Moor, is a mystic terrain, so each time I have to roll 2+ to avoid that I'm not get stuck. I pass all the checks that I had to do this turn. I move the Liberators in position to protect my backward from any charge through the Realm Gate. I don't want to be get by surprise. And then I place my Judicators in a way that I have options to shoot. But at the end I focus my shooting again on the Blood Warriors. I also move ahead with the Retributors to be able to assault into the Blood Warriors to make an easy charge of just 3 inches. And I put the Liberators to protect in case that the Blood Reavers are advancing, to have something to protect against this advancement. So here we have the overview of at the end of my movement in the shooting phase. The shooting phase, I did some wounds with as you can see also I moved my Knight Venator there on this piece of terrain to have good line of shot. I want to start punishing some of the heroes of the Khorne army, and I did some wounds on the Exalted Champion. I think at the end I only did 1 wound on the Exalted Champion, and the rest of the shooting mainly went into the Blood Warriors, killing some of them. So here we see the other flank. the Liberators, and then behind the Liberators I have the Judicators. The Lord Castellan goes just behind the Retributors, and I use the Lord Castellan to improve the save of the Retributors. Here we have an overview of the battle. And this is the moment of the charge. I charge with the Retributors to the tower, and I killed some Block Warriors, but I couldn't finish them all, so we are there stuck in close combat. Here we see another picture from the other side. I think I killed them all except the champion. And in return, they did not damage between the Slaughter Priest and the champion. They did not damage to my Retributors. Here is the Watchtower trying to be assaulted by my Retributor. And an overview of the battlefield. Here we have another overview. He's removing just the casualties. And yeah, we start fighting for the Watchtower, and let's see who have the control. In this scenario, you have to have the control of the Watchtower. So at the end of turn 3, you roll a dice on 4+, the battle is finished. The army that have more miniatures, more models in the Watchtower is winning. If both armies have the same number of miniatures, is a draw. If there is not an army that have miniatures in the Watchtower, then is a minor victory for the army that is closest to the Watchtower in that case. Here we have another overview. And this is the end of the turn 2 of the Stormcast Eternals, and we are ready to start the turn 2 for the Khorne. So, turn 2 for the Bloodbound, the army of Khorne. So, they use the gate to move the Khorne into my backward. So, yeah, I think it was a good choice to leave at least the Liberators. So I have now 2 Khorne and my backguard. And the rest of the army of the Khorne move ahead. They just advance, no charges. All the units run to close the gap and try to win the assault as fast as possible. But the distance is quite big, and they just run just to be in charge in the next turn. Here we have another overview, and we see the Khorne. This is just in the soul phase. We see that the Khorne just assault on my Liberators. Here we see the combat between the Khorne and the Liberators. I did some wounds on one of the Khorne, and in return he killed one of my Liberators, and I passed the battle shock test without issue. Here in the Watchtower, there was a combat between the Retributors and the Blood Warriors and the Slaughter Priest. And here, he advanced, but was too far for them to charge. We see another close-up of this side. I will try to face the Blood Rivers with my Liberators. And here in the combat, the Retributors show the strength, and they kill them all. Okay. At the beginning of the turn, the Slaughter Priest tried again to do d6 mortal wounds on my Retributors. He was quite unlucky, he rolled a 1, so he received d3 wounds instead of causing d6 wounds. So between that and then having the mortal wounds and all the hammers, I completely killed the Slaughter Priest and the Blood Warriors. And yeah, in return I received 2 wounds on my Retributors. and here the combat, as I explained, they kill one of my liberators. I did some wounds, but nothing serious. And we roll for initiative. As you can see, I get the initiative again for the turn 3, so this is ideal. So I decided to advance with my retributors here. I was hesitating what to do, if I keep the retributors in the tower or advance with them, and I decided it's better if I decide to advance and try to do as much damage as I can to the characters, so in order to win times and use some of the other units to hold on the tower. So my plan is, instead of stopping here my advance, I decide to still advancing and try to protect the tower by avoiding that they can assault. In that side, I move again with the liberators, and I keep the adjudicators just behind the liberators to give some protection, some support, fire support. And as you can see, I also move the adjudicators on the other flank, so I will try to also to do as much damage as I can with the shooting. And I move back my prosecutors to see if I can do damage on the on the Korgorath. Here, as you see, I decided that it makes no sense for me to keep the liberators in combat with the Korgorath, so I decided to retreat them to the terrain where they have some more protection. We play the Age of Sigmar rules, so this is not needed to do the shooting, but anyway, I didn't want to keep the engagement. I don't think was needed, and I prefer to retreat, avoid that he can do damage to me, and keep shooting to them. And here we see also the movement of the corn, how they are also moving to the hill. And this is the first exalted. This is one of the exalted champions. He's wounded from the previous turns, and yeah, here we see my control on the tower. And then in the shooting phase, I killed one of the exalted Deathbringers, and in that side you see at the bottom the Knight Venator killed one of the Korgorath with the special arrow. And yeah, I did some additional damage with my prosecutors, so they also shoot to the Korgorath. And the other unit of adjudicators, yeah, they start doing wounds on the Blood Rivers. I want to avoid that they arrive at full strength, and I want to start doing some damage. Yeah, we have another overview. You see how I keep the prosecutors at long distance. I want to have the option to do 2 wounds with the shooting. Here we have an overview, and then in the assault phase I assault with the retributors on the Slaughter Priest and the Bloodstalker. Here we have the overview from far. Another picture of my positioning on the table. Then in the combat phase, the retributors kill the Slaughter Priest. I make some wounds. I think I made a lot of wounds to the Bloodstalker. Only 1 wound remaining, but in return, I received a lot of wounds because I was charged by not charged, but I put my retributors in range to be assaulted by the mighty warrior, okay, the mighty Lord of Khorne, how it's called, the hero, the general of the enemies, and I was also assaulted by one of the exalted Deathbringers. So yeah, I think I moved my retributors too close to the enemy, and then they get engaged by all the characters at the same time. What was a mistake from my side, and they did a lot of damage on my retributors. So, but and with that positioning, we go into the turn 3 for the Corn. So the Corn just advanced with everything. Was good at the end that the retributors engage with the Mighty Lord of Corn and also the Exalted Deathbringer, because they get stuck with my retributor, and just the Blood Warriors move ahead to assault the Judicators, as you can see, and the Blood Reavers went to assault onto the Liberators, as well as the Kolgorath that I disengaged before, move again ahead and assault again the Liberators. The Kolgorath did the shooting, but I think they did nothing. And then it was a quite fast turn, and we went into the close combat. In that turn we have multiple attacks, so the way how we activate the units was quite a key, and depending where you want to do damage. So you see here he's putting the Blood Reavers in position. In that turn, he completely disseminated my unit of Liberators that are with the Blood Reavers. They did a lot of attacks, and they kill all except one, and then the rest, the survivors, or the 2 survivors, just were eliminated with the Battle Shock. My last Retributor also was killed, but before being killed, I managed to eliminate the Bloodstalker with the D3 Mortar Wounds. And then the Blood Warriors didn't manage to kill all the Judicators. Here we see another image. This is from the other side, and here we see how the Kolgorath assaults on the Liberators as well. So there is different battles around the battlefield. I was surprised that they don't went directly to the tower. I have to say my Lord Castellan is just in the tower, and is my unit that is controlling at this moment the tower. Here we see at the end of the battle, at the end of the combat, how the Blood Reavers have eliminated the Liberators. I killed some of them, but there is still quite a good bunch of Blood Reavers, so I will need to do some damage to them if I want to stop, because this can be a quite threat on my flank. So this is also from the same flank. You see the Blood Reavers, and then the Blood Warriors didn't manage to kill all the Judicators. They killed 4 of them, and the survivor passed the Battle Shock test. And the Kolgorath did not a lot of damage neither. I think he did just 1 wound to me, and in return I did 2 or 3 wounds to the Kolgorath. Here we have the image here, the situation at the end. I'm controlling the Watchtower with the Lord Castellan, because he did not move any unit into the Watchtower, and the units that were the garrison units are eliminated at this moment. So, and this is the situation at the end of the turn 3. I try to use my units to avoid that he can charge, or to put some other targets and deviate a little bit the core. Now we roll to see if the battle finish, and if we roll 4 plus, so 4, 5 or 6, I will win the battle, because I'm the only one that have a model in the tower. We roll for that, and they roll a 4 or 5, so the Stormcast had a victory. But the situation was not that good for the Stormcast, because there were a lot of units from the Corn just closing up and being very close to, and just ready to go into the tower. Remember, one of my units of Liberators in one of the flanks was completely destroyed. My Retributors were destroyed. There are a couple of important characters, the Mighty Lord of Corn, and one of the Exalted Deathbringers that were completely new and next to the Watchtower. And the Blood Warriors just destroyed almost 1 unit of Judicators with only 1 Judicator surviving. But luckily the battle have finished at this point of the battle. But anyway, we decided to keep playing the game. We decided to keep fighting the battle. We start doing some extra turns. So we go into the extra turn 4, and I won again the initiative. So quite happy to win 3 times initiative. And yeah, and with the initiative under my control, I decide to concentrate all my shooting into the Blood Rivers and the Blood Warriors. I killed the Blood Warriors in the shooting phase, and I did a lot of damage to the Blood Rivers, to the point that now the Blood Rivers are not anymore a threat in that flank. The Blood Rivers had a lot of attacks because they had, my opponent had planted the banner and they have some abilities, so they were +2 attacks each of them. Here we see again the overview. So, and then what I did is the Judicators just did a lot of shooting on the Blood Rivers. They killed some of them, and I decided to assault the Blood Rivers. And I decided to attack first with the Judicators. In that way I do damage on the Blood Rivers, and I can start reducing the numbers of this unit. The Kolgorath keep engaged with my Liberators. This time I decide not to disengage. I decide to keep the Kolgorath engaged in combat. I think he killed one of my Liberators, but in return I start doing more and more damage to him. Here we see the Kolgorath. I think that the one the Kolgorath is still with 6 wounds, not too bad. And yeah, and I start grouping my units around the tower. The other thing that I did in the movement phase that I forgot to explain before is I moved my prosecutors into the tower to have more meters there, and because from this tower they can do some shooting in any direction, they can do some quite good shooting. So I decided to keep them. I decided to move them there, and from there to start shooting and punishing the enemies. Here we see the combat between the Judicators and the Blood Rivers. I didn't manage to kill them all. I think in return I just received one wound on my Judicators, so quite good. And I think at the moment it was better to assault because then I can keep them engaged into close combat. Here we have the overview of the battlefield at the end of turn 4. Here we see that now the 2 main characters, or the general of the Bloodcorn and the Exalted Deathbringers, are free and they will be able to assault anyone they want. So we go into turn 4 for Khorne. Yeah, and he move ahead with the 2 heroes, try to charge the Knight Venator and the surviving Judicator, the one that was in combat with the Blood Warriors. He survived because I killed all the Blood Warriors with the shooting phase. So then we just went into the combat phase between the Kolgorath and Liberators. Nothing else happened. The battle between the Blood Rivers and the Judicators, I think I managed to kill. I lost one of the Judicators, but I managed to reduce the numbers of the Blood Rivers. I think there is only 1 survival at the end of this turn. And then the mighty Khorne, Lord of Khorne, assault my Knight Venator, and the Exalted Deathbringer assault the Judicator that is alone, the Judicator Prime. He only did 1 wound to my Judicator Prime, so he didn't manage. It was completely a flop attack. He completely flopped the attacks. But the next combat that you will see is between the mighty Lord of Khorne and my Knight Venator. I did 1 wound to him and he did 1 wound to me. Okay, but then at the end of the turn he rolled for the axe, on 5 or 6 he eliminate the wounded miniatures, and the miniatures are wounded by the axe, and he killed my knight, knight Venator. So the knight Venator was destroyed by the power of the axe. And with that, we'll go again to the turn 5 for the Stormcast Eternals. I won this initiative. So in that turn, I start by using the Lantern to kill the last of the Blood Rivers. In that way, I free up my unit of Judicators. They were stuck because there was just one survival Blood River, but because in my hero phase using the Lantern, I killed the last of the Blood Rivers. They can look for a better position and to be able to have good shooting against the Exalted Deathbringer. I also move all my prosecutors into the Watchtower to have to shoot on the Mighty Lord of Khorne. So, and then I did all the shooting. I killed the Exalted Deathbringer. I think I did one wound to the Mighty Lord of Khorne. But the other important thing is that in close combat, at the end I managed to kill the Korgorath. So this unit of 3 Liberators are free now. And my enemy at this moment have just the Blood Sequestrator, the one with the banner, and the Mighty Lord of Khorne. So it was quite a good turn for me. You see here the overview, and now we will go into the turn 5 for Khorne. And here the battle was very fast. There were not a lot of miniatures. We went to turn 5 and 6 of Khorne, so this means that Khorne just get the initiative on the turn 6. Yeah, he just assaulted into the Watchtower during these turns, and he killed a lot of prosecutors, and he also killed my Lord Castellan. So just with the attacks of the axe, he completely he made 6 wounds to me and just killed the Lord Castellan. Although I have the +1 armor save, I failed on enough armor save to receive too many wounds. So and this was just the turn 6. And I don't have more pictures here. This is the last one. In my turn 6, I just moved them all. It's called here the Prosecutor Prime out of the building. I position my Judicators. I shoot to the banner of Khorne, and I kill. I make some wounds. I did not kill, but we decided to stop there. The battle was already decided in turn 3 when I had the victory. We just play some more turns to see what happens, and we see that maybe at turn 6 Khorne might have the possibility to control the tower, but I was controlling the tower until the turn 6. So yeah, this was an interesting battle. We really enjoyed. We passed a very good time, and was nice to see how the Stormcast Eternals are fighting the Bloodbound of Khorne. And that's all. So this was the end of the extra turns. And yeah, and just to remind you, if you want to support this channel, you can support me in Patreon. I have a Patreon account. You will find the link in the description below. And if you have any question, do not hesitate to send me a question. And for now, that's all. So please comment, like if you have liked this battle report. And as usual, thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye.